Hi everybody and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about my labor and delivery story. Yes, I did post a labor and delivery vlog, but that video wasn't even half of what happened the day I gave birth to my sweet baby boy. He's right here. He isn't knocked out, so I'm trying to do slight movements because I don't want him to wake up. I've literally been ready for like an hour, but Isabella's sick. So it was hard for her to go down for a nap, and he had to eat, and I'm breastfeeding, so you know, babies come first. But I wanted to get this video out for you guys so you guys can hear about my story, because you guys, my birth was crazy. But let's get started with today's video. So I have some notes that I wrote down so I don't forget some things. So if you see me looking down, that's why. All right, so as you guys saw on my labor and delivery vlog on the 24th of May, I lost my mucus plug. It was just a little bit, and I lost it right after I did the do, you know what I'm talking about. So I really think that helped me lose it. And also prior to this day as well, I was drinking raspberry leaf tea pretty frequently, not as much as I should have been, but I was drinking it maybe twice a day, every other day, since maybe 34 weeks. So on the 24th, after I lost my mucus plug, it was only a little bit, but it was a good amount for me to know that it was my mucus plug and there was blood in it. I also started getting Braxton Hicks. So the day that I started getting Braxton Hicks was the day after I did the do, and my Braxton Hicks that day came like consistent. So I really thought I was going into labor because I was getting them every 10 minutes for, you know, I was just getting them consistently. So it made me think that I was going into labor, but I wasn't. A couple of days passed. So I would say the 26th, my husband decided to go on a very long walk to help me dilate. Oh. You guys, he literally just grunts all day. So on the 26th, me and my husband went on a very long walk with Isabella. We went on like an hour walk. And yeah, later on that night is when I lost the rest of my mucus plug. And this time it was a lot. It was so much mucus. I even showed Fernando. I was like, babe, look at all this mucus that's coming out of me. And yeah, so I didn't really think much of it because I lost my mucus plug before, like, you know, the couple days before, and I heard a lot of people say that your mucus plugs retracts, I think that's the word, or like it can regrow after you lose it. So I didn't really think much of it. So later on that night, I was laying in bed. I was just watching TV. I was watching Are You the One on Hulu, and you guys, I was so hungry. I ate like a bagel, I ate some chocolate, and I ate 2 chocolate bars. So I was wide awake just watching TV. And I lift my leg because I started to feel just like uncomfortable. So I lift my leg and I hear and feel a pop. And I was just like, was that my bone or was that my water breaking? I don't know. So I stood up and no water came out. So I was like, that couldn't have been my water breaking. Maybe it was just like my bone cracking or something. I don't know. So I was standing there because I was getting some Braxton Hicks, or what I thought was Braxton Hicks. And I was just like swaying back and forth, but I was still watching TV. So I was pretty... like, I didn't feel like in terrible pain. I was chilling, and all of a sudden water drips down my leg, and I'm like, am I peeing myself? Nope, it was my water breaking. So my water broke at 1:42 a.m. and 10 minutes later my contractions started. I'll go ahead and put up a picture of my contraction log that I use, and people were asking me what log I was using, and it was the app, the Ovia pregnancy app. What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? You guys, he wants to eat all the time. Look at that face. Look at that face. So once my contractions started, I was just kind of shook. Like, you guys saw my delivery vlog that I was just shook. I didn't know what to do. But every time I would get a contraction, I would just breathe through them. I was just trying to do deep breaths. Once I lost my mucus plug earlier on in that day, I started watching videos on how to like labor at home. So I was just trying to breathe through my contractions, because that's the number one that I've heard. You literally have to breathe through your contractions because it helps. So by this time my contractions were 3 minutes apart maybe, and I thought I was fine to labor at home. So I went and took a shower, and then my contractions started to come every like 1 to 2 minutes. So I was like, I think maybe I should wake up Fernando, because I didn't want to wake him up because he did go to sleep literally shortly before my water broke. So I wanted to wait as long as possible to wake him up. So after I got out the shower, I went and woke him up. He literally thought I was joking with him. He thought I was pranking him, but I wasn't. My water literally broke. And I told him, I was like, babe, I'm getting contractions. And by this time, my contractions started to come every minute, and they were a minute long. Like 40 seconds to a minute long. And mind you, we had to drop off Isabella. So I was like, all right, babe, we got to get up and get ready. So I'm just squirming to get dressed while in pain, and he's like running all over the place because he still had to pack his hospital bag, and we also had to pack Isabella's hospital bag, or her going away bag, because she was gonna go stay with his mom. So he was rushing to get ready, and I'm just in pain. My contractions were hurting so bad that I couldn't wear pants. Just having that pressure around my hips and my stomach really hurt. So I threw on a dress, and every time I would get a contraction, I literally had to stop. I couldn't even walk and have the contractions, or talk and have the contractions, and that's how I knew they were getting serious. So by the time we were ready to go, I think it was around 2:22, we were all packed into the car, and I realized I don't think I'm gonna make it to the hospital because I already felt like I was gonna push. So Fernando called his dad and told him to meet us halfway. His parents lived maybe 20 minutes away from us, and they met us halfway. So maybe like not even halfway, they met us like 5 minutes away from where we live at a gas station. And by the time we dropped Isabella off, you guys, I was ready to push. Like with every contraction, Ezekiel was so freaking low that I felt like I had to push. So we're driving in the car to the hospital, and by the time we get to the hospital, like I could not take the pain, you guys. It was so excruciating, and people were asking me how did it feel, like my contractions, and for me it felt like my vagina was being crushed, literally being crushed. And by the time we got to the hospital, I could barely walk through any of my contractions. So we get to the door of the hospital. First off, we didn't even know where we were going because we've never been to this hospital before. I gave birth to Isabella at a different hospital, but I didn't want to go back there because I felt like my birth was traumatic and I didn't like any of the doctors. So once we got to the front door, the doors were locked, and we had to push a button to have someone come down. Push the button, and someone told us they were gonna come open the doors for us. You guys, this man was literally walking. I could see him from like through the door because it was glass. He was taking his sweet time. Like he was walking like, you know, he had time to spare. Like I wasn't about to give birth to my child on the ground if he wouldn't have hurried up. By the time he got to the door, he bought me a wheelchair, and I sat on it. And he told me, he was like, hang in there because labor and delivery is across the hospital. And once I heard that, I was like, I'm about to give birth inside this wheelchair, you guys. Thankfully I didn't. We got up to labor and delivery. We get to the front desk, and this lady was taking her sweet time too. She was like, what's your name? What's your address? What's your social security number? And literally, you guys, I was like pushing while she was telling me that. So I got up from my wheelchair, and I go to wait in front of the door because she was like, someone's gonna come for you. And I screamed. I was like, I need to push. And literally, once I said that, she got up so fast and dialed numbers, and people were running from the back of the hospital. Like I could see them running like to me. And after this, you guys, after the doctors got to me, once I said I had to push, literally everything was crazy. So they wheeled me into a room. They sat me on the bed. They literally ripped off my underwear. They're like asking me all these questions, and I'm just sitting here like pushing while they're asking me these questions. They were putting IVs in me. The lady was like, I can't get the IV in her. She's sweating too much. Her skin is so slippery. Literally, I was drenched in sweat, and she was like, all right, push with every contraction. So by the time I got to the hospital, I would say I gave birth within like 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. So once I started pushing, I was just pushing, feeling all my contractions. I didn't get any epidural, and my doctor was great. Like the lady who was delivering me was like really trying to help me push down, and she told me, she was like, you're gonna have a VBAC today, girl. And I was so happy when she said that. I was like, thank the Lord, because if you've been following my journey, you know that I've been wanting to have a VBAC because I had a C-section with Isabella, and I didn't want to go through that again. So when she said that, I was like, okay, like my motivation was like through the roof. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, when we were at the front desk, I literally was in so much pain. I squeezed Fernando's fingers so hard he started to bleed. Like he literally had blood dripping from his finger. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Literally me in the middle of in labor, I was like apologizing so hard to him because I literally made him bleed. That's how hard I was squeezing him. I pushed it for 20 minutes and he came out, and literally it felt like so amazing. I was so shocked that I gave birth vaginally, and I was so shocked that I gave birth naturally without an epidural. Like 100% salute the women who give birth without an epidural, because that pain was no joke. And I salute the women who get the epidural, because I understand. If it wasn't for me making it to the hospital by the time I did and being 10 centimeters already, I probably would have got an epidural, because that pain was something else. But obviously things happen for a reason, and I got the birth that I wanted, so I'm so happy about that. After he came out, I had to push out the placenta, which was the worst part for me. They were pushing on my stomach and they were telling me to keep my legs open, and I couldn't, because I was in so much pain, and I started to lose a lot of blood. So they took me back to the OR room, and or the operating room. I don't know if that's what the OR room is. I don't know. But they took me back there, and you guys, I was so out of it. Like, they gave me a spinal tap. But once they gave me the spinal tap, I felt so much better. My legs were so weak after I gave birth, and I was in so much freaking pain. And I also lost so much blood that I was out of it. I was weak. I tore from basically my vagina hole to my booty hole. And I also tore inside my vagina and my cervix, so they had to repair that as well. After I left there, I was able to go back to the room and meet and be with my husband and my baby, and it was so nice. I was so happy. I felt like a boss for delivering naturally. After that, for recovery, I had to get 2 blood transfusions, and I also had to be bedbound for 12 hours. But other than that, my birth was honestly everything that I wanted and more. I'm so glad that I was able to have a VBAC. I'm so glad I was able to give birth naturally. I'm so glad that I am healthy. My baby was healthy. It was just a good experience. I'm so thankful for my husband that he was there to hold my hand and like talking through everything. And yeah, you guys, that is my labor and delivery story. I 100% recommend you guys. I'm sorry if I'm tired. I literally feel like I'm so tired that my talking is making me tired. But if you want to have a natural birth, I 100% suggest it. If you want to have a VBAC, I 100% suggest it. The crazy part too is, you guys, literally at my doctor's appointment the day before I gave birth, my doctor basically told me that I wouldn't be able to give birth vaginally. He told me that my success rate was so low that he doubted that I would be able to give birth to VBAC. So I'm so happy for myself. But if you want to give birth to VBAC, I 100% suggest you going on a page on Facebook and joining a group called the VBAC Link Community. I think that's the name. It's a group of women who share their stories and their advice for women who want to have a VBAC. And you can type in questions or anything that you want to know, and they give you advice. So I 100% suggest that. You guys so much for watching my labor and delivery story. I'm sorry that I'm out of it. I'm sorry that I'm so tired. You know, I'm literally, the baby's a week old, so I'm still holding on strong. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for following my pregnancy journey, and I'm so excited to share my journey with you guys of being a mom of 2. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below, and also follow me on all my social medias, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Snapchat. And I'll talk to you guys in another video.